everyone, welcome back to QSR Nation, your weekly source of food service marketing and business strategies for success. Here are your hosts, Josh, Beth, Tony, and Grant from the PFS Brands National Headquarters in Holt Summit, Missouri.
Everybody, welcome back to QSR Nation. As always, we have Josh, Grant, Beth, and Tony here at the PFS Brands National Headquarters in Holt Summit, Missouri to talk about food service marketing and business strategies for success. Today, I am taking a page out of kind of like the Jocko podcast where they just kind of do rapid fire questions. Not really rapid fire, but they just kind of discuss some questions. And I found 4 of them on Quora. I think I'm saying that right. Quora.
4 questions. Oh boy.
Yeah, I know, it's
I'm
crazy.
actually kind of scared.
You should be. And our good friend Mark Gandy is always constantly posting on Quora and answering some great questions. So
Shout out, Mark.
yeah, I always give him a good shout out. So the first question, my friends,
Cool.
and just kind of answer this in a conversational order. Just chip in whenever you want.
Just please let it be. What's your name? What's your name?
Okay. How will the emergence of lab-grown meat affect the restaurant and food service industry? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
this is a healthy choice people are looking for.
Well, it's a huge trend right now to be very healthy, very organic meat. So if you have lab-created meat, obviously that's going to be a huge hindrance and it's going to cause an uproar in the industry just because the millennial generation specifically are looking for
Gen X
more
too.
whole foods and just healthier options all around.
Yeah, that's
Well-
the first thing that came to my mind. I mean, organic is it's a very hot topic right now, and I only see that continue to grow in the next, few years. So.
Right.
Well, and with the lab-created meats, I mean, isn't this what Burger King just recently did with
Yeah, the Impossible
the
Burger.
Impossible Burger? You know, I had a friend actually eat one, and he said he couldn't taste
that
the
friend
difference.
you?
No, I have one friend.
They
None of
they're-
you guys.
They say they're pretty good. I haven't tried one.
Yeah, I haven't tried one. I probably wouldn't eat one.
What is that? Can someone explain that? I've heard of it, but I can't remember all the.
So it's
It's
not
plant-based somehow.
Yeah, it's not meat.
Yeah.
So it's like a vegan's dream, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's that I have a problem with the whole phrase lab created.
It's
Yeah.
a cool concept, but the agriculture industry takes such high standards in making sure that there's quality produce, quality meat that's coming out of our industry that it's unfortunate that we're going to have lab created meat just to try and meet some of those very small demographics catering needs.
Yeah,
Well-
but there is a difference though between the lab grown and the Impossible Burger. I think the Impossible Burger is like a vegetable burger, right? It's vegan.
veggie burger, I
Veggie
believe
burger.
so.
Is it a
essentially.
veggie burger?
Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure
thought
it is.
so.
Yeah.
I just really like
We'll have to
beef.
fact check after this.
Yeah,
I
we'll
guess.
fact checks. We were usually pretty good at that. I do know that one thing we all missed the boat on is whenever Beyond Meat did their IPO to go public on trading
Yeah.
stock. Oh my
Yeah.
Lord, we would be rich right now.
That would have been a good one to buy.
No, I thought about that like 3 months too late. But okay, so that was a good question, I think. Don't think we really got any good answers, but
It's definitely not
just
what's your
something.
name.
It's definitely something to keep on the horizon, or just keep your eye on that in the horizon. It's
It's
gonna be
food for
huge.
thought, right?
Well, and good pun
nice
there.
one, Grant.
And tell you, as a restaurant owner, those are some things that you can look at as far as for creating a niche product and something I guess unique to your restaurant.
For
Just
sure.
wanna go unique New York.
All right. Got to keep us on topic here. Question number 2. What is the best way to grow website traffic with a $0 budget?
Well, we get to do that a lot, so.
That's my life.
I'm going to deflect this question to Beth and Josh. They're really good at that.
This is life.
Yeah.
Well, constantly updating your website, one, just to make sure that there's new content, but also to make sure that you are up to date and constantly updating your social media channels to just have that reverse traffic going back in there. Anything that you can do, if you can do backlinks onto other people's websites that are associated with you. For example, for us with PFS Brands, we do a lot with our wholesalers, making sure that we have information on their website that way people who's visiting their website can come back to ours.
Yeah, for sure. There's a ton of ways to do it. Obviously, it's been said this for the last 10 years, content's king, and it's all going to video content too, but having good content out there that's structured properly as well so Google can actively crawl that and get it actually on their site and ranked well is also huge. You can go to other relevant blogs and comment on those blogs as well and get backlinks that way. I mean, there's a ton of ways you can do it, but it all takes time and effort. It won't happen overnight, so it takes months of steadily doing it and consistency for sure.
Oh my gosh, consistency is key. You cannot just do it once a week and then think that's good enough.
Well, and one thing I think people misunderstand about the bots and crawlers and stuff is the content is there for them. It's there for readers as well, but it's really there for Google and Bing to find you and to find relevant content that fills the void of I'm searching for X, so here's the answer, and here's what's relative to your search query. So having that content-rich piece there is huge. And I also I know in social media, native video is generally rewarded a lot greater than just posting a link to YouTube or Vimeo or something. So, I mean, keeping that in mind as well, that native video aspect on your site, it can also be very beneficial to you.
But make sure it's quality video.
Yeah, and to Tony's point too, when it comes to it, that stuff is there for Google to crawl, but more in fact, it's actually there. You want to create quality, valuable content that your readers will actually use, because Google is constantly updating its algorithms to give the best user experience for people searching for that content. They want it to be super relative and super to the point for those searchers. So, quality, valuable content.
Yes.
I'm just going to say yes. And
Agreed.
Pass.
Thanks, Grant. All right. Question.
I didn't realize Grant was here.
Tony beat me to my point about the video advertising on Facebook, or not the videos on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have made a great point.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. All right. Question number 3.
This one.
This is, by the way, this is going well. I'm so happy we decided to do this today.
It's not too bad. All right. Question number 3. If you didn't know anything about running a restaurant, which was basically me before I started working here, if you didn't know anything about running a restaurant and a dying relative left you one, would you sell it?
Yes.
Question number 4. I'm just kidding. Oh, why is that, Tony?
Well, so, I mean, first of all,
Want to be relative to but like what the restaurant is and what it's currently doing?
well, absolutely. I mean, if you didn't know anything about the restaurant business, your best bet would be to sell to someone who has a passion for it and who understands it. I have a friend, she has a restaurant down in Springfield. She works, 80, 100 hours a week consistently. She deals with all the stress of the turnover, but she absolutely loves what she does. That's why she does it. And if someone just left you something, in my opinion, if it isn't something that you love and then you're in the restaurant industry, you're better off just to sell to someone who can actually make a good, strong run in it and give it the constant attention that it's going to need and require, and the dedication and sacrifice that it is going to require. Me personally, if my mom left me a restaurant, depending on the demographic, and all the other things, but if I was fully vested there, even if I wasn't working there, there's a good chance that I may personally step into it because it's a family situation. But that being, if it was like a restaurant I grew up around.
Yeah.
But if it was just, hey, your aunt passed and she left you her place, I'm flipping it. I love my aunt too. I love all of my aunts and my uncles, but I'm not going to take on that responsibility if that's not something I'm passionate about.
For sure.
It's definitely just like any other business. There's always continuous education that's needed, and especially in the food service industry, because things are constantly changing. Just like the very first question with lab created meats, that's something that you're going to be presented with different options and trying to seek out different ways to appeal to new customers and appeal to the new demographics that are coming around. So just make sure that you understand that no matter what business it is, it's going to be a challenge, but very specifically in the food industry, things are constantly changing.
Yeah, and I would say, like Tony said, either sell it, or maybe if you can hire that person to run it for you, then that's an option too.
That's a good point. Yeah, I to me this question begs two further question: is what metrics would you look at right away to see if it's even worth keeping, even if you do love the family business, but is it worth keeping? But what metrics would you look at to determine that?
Well, the financials, obviously. I mean, you've got to look at what the last 5 years that it's done and how it's performed. You've got to look at your guest traffic, look at your reputation.
Reputation, for sure.
That's. Just because, your family member's reputation may have been golden doesn't mean that yours is. Exactly. Why'd you look at me, Beth? But I think those are
culture of the store and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, make sure that you're a good fit. Just because maybe your relative did a great job running it doesn't mean that necessarily, you're the right fit for that position either. She keeps looking at me like, yeah, you're not a good fit. No.
The other part of that question would be, if you know nothing, how easy is it to learn? I guess There's obviously a huge learning curve, but it's possible to do it though if you're really passionate about it, right?
There definitely is. There's such a big learning curve, but seek out those people that you can learn from. If there's another restaurant that's in town, or if you know someone that has ran a restaurant, use their guidance. Also, do anything that you can to self-educate. Go to conferences, go to different classes, just that way you can understand the financials, but then also just the operations, because I know one thing that we do at PFS is always teaching people about the proper serving amounts, because you don't realize how much money you're losing. Yeah, it might look great because the amount of food that you're putting on the table, and you're thinking this is fantastic because people are going to come in here because of the portions, but if you're losing out on money every single time that you're putting a double scoop of mashed potatoes on there, how much money are you going to be generating in the future, and how much money are you losing, and what the potential profits that you could have had?
Yeah, well said, Beth.
Well said, Beth.
Thank you.
Yep.
Scoop of mashed potatoes and knowledge for you today.
Yeah.
Time to move on to question 4.
Well, just real quick though, one thing I think that is really key is
I said move on to question.
No,
I was kidding.
No, Bino, move on. No, it's understanding what your level of tolerance of failure is. There's a lot of failure in the food service industry, a lot of failure in the restaurant industry, and you've got to be, if you're going to take on something like that, you've got to have pretty thick skin and understand that you've got to plan well, execute well, like Beth said, control your costing, but you've got to have a pretty high tolerance of failure.
For sure. Yep.
And now you can do question 4.
Okay,
sir.
question 4 now.
Moving on.
I brought this one up because several months ago I sent an article to all of us here and told you it was a really good read, and I actually didn't read it, but I skimmed it. But Grant read it, and then he tried to ask me a bunch of questions about it, and he called me out basically. But it's kind of the same essence on that. So how do restaurants use psychology to manipulate our spending and eating habits?
Oh, man. There's a lot of psychology that goes into it, a lot more than what people would think.
Menu
for
design
sure.
and everything.
Yeah, menu design is one of the biggest ones. I know they structure it, from left to right. There's a method to how they, order the items. I think they don't put the most expensive, I think they do put the most expensive thing on the top left. So then as you go down to cheaper options, you think that's a lot better.
Great deal,
They've
yeah.
set the bar high from the get-go. Another thing that they do is they a lot of times won't even use a dollar sign, and you'll see that on menus at regular restaurants and stuff. They don't put a dollar sign on there because dollar sign automatically makes you think, I have to spend money for this.
Right.
So they'll just put the numbers there, and they may keep it only at one number. Like when it's $9, they put 9.
No cents or no cents.
No
holders or
cents,
anything,
anything like that. So there's a lot of things that, people think that they may be doing it for no reason, but there's certainly a reason why they structure their menus the way they do. So.
There's also, I went to a restaurant this weekend, and they kept saying, it's our special of the day, special pricing. And when you looked at the menu, there's actually no difference in the pricing, but they just tried to feature it. It is also one of their most expensive options that they have on there, but they were just trying to make it more appealing to people. But yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah, it was really good.
It worked. Yeah.
Way to go.
Well, and also utilization, especially like of Instagram, pushing out some really great looking plates. To just encourage people and inspire them, get them hungry, get them wanting that desire of, hey, I want to go there. Oh yeah, I had a great experience there, and just connecting with the consumer on an emotional level, and especially if you serve alcohol at a place, you get folks in there, you get a couple of drinks, typically they're going to spend a little bit more, and continued just of pampering that experience and that emotional fulfillment. I think Grant and I watched a clip from Seinfeld last week where he talks about.
That's what you guys do in your office.
It's research.
It's research.
Josh and I are working hard over here.
Whatever. We all know none of us work. I hope Sean's not listening to this one. But no, we watched that clip from Seinfeld. It's hilarious where he talks about, everything, that looks great at the very beginning of the meal because you're hungry and you don't care. And then you get the bill and you're like, wait a minute. Wait, I'm not even hungry anymore. Why would I want to pay for this?
Who ordered this? Was this right?
Another great way to do it is just by kind of manipulating people on the structure of your happy hours or your discounted deals. So, I know Applebee's and a lot of Mexican restaurants actually do this. They'll structure their happy hours from 3 until 5, which is typically then obviously 5 to 7 is your main dinner time. But at least you have people that are there prior to that, and they're just going to stay around to eat dinner. Yeah. Appetizers, you may not, if you're open late, people will offer appetizer discounts from 9 until close or whatnot. But that just drives people in your slowest time. So it's just it's a great way to get people in whenever you're not going to normally have that traffic.
Mm-hmm. One other thing that I know they use it as a psychological thing is like the colors of the restaurant. I think red is one of the big colors. And if you think about it, there's a lot of QSRs out there that have red incorporated some way
to their logos,
in their
yeah.
logo
Like
or inside
Champ's
the restaurant,
Chicken.
like Champ's Chicken. Yeah. No, but apparently red is supposed to be like
Psychological?
Yeah, psychological. Like it's like psychologically appetizing or something. It gets you in the mood.
It
to
definitely
eat.
draws your attention for sure
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
you there.
Yeah.
I know. I will include a link to that article that I sent to all of us, and I actually might read it this time. So, but it's a good one. I mean, that one really dives into Starbucks, and how they lay out their menu and how everything is thoroughly planned and like there's a science behind it. It's kind of crazy.
Can we just get the Grant Cliff Notes version?
Yeah, he just kind of did actually. So, yeah.
Sure thing.
Well, I mean, that's all the 4 questions I have. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, we should do this more often.
Yeah.
Or not.
I thought it was good. No.
I liked
pretty
it.
good.
I did too. All right. Well,
job, Josh.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Grant. If you guys have any questions for us, instead of us finding our own questions, you can reach out to us at qsrnation@pfsbrands.com. Subscribe to the podcast at pfsbrands.com/podcast.
Find us on Facebook and on Twitter at QSR Nation.
Wow, yeah, those are good ones. Go there, do all those.
Ready to just jump in on him there.
No, I was having my train of thought totally shot down now. No, that's all right. And guys, thanks for listening. For Grant, Tony, Beth, and Josh, we'll talk to you next week.
Today's episode is brought to you by Champ's Chicken. For deals, discounts, and updates, check out champschicken.com/connect. Be sure to stop by next week for another episode of QSR Nation. And be sure to check us out online at pfsbrands.com/podcast.